If the beast is satisfied, then it's time to rest. But is there truly rest for a beast who is already planning its next strike? Slumber might be the worst possible play right now. Hello and welcome back to the Frontlines of Kerbin. This is Lance, the overseer of the series. Today we are covering turn 15, the exact midpoint of the early World War II era. As promised in the last episode, today is the day the mid-tier upgrades arrive. Experimental units are about to hit the field, so stay tuned for those. In the last episode, Gallandia struck back, winning the massive ground battle and reclaiming the F corridor for the time being. However, today is not going to be the day of stagnation. Both teams are making major plays, shifting their pieces across the board in ways we haven't seen in a long time. Let's start by looking at the map where we left off. Gallandia now controls the critical F7 grid. Will they push further? We'll see. First up, Ashcar's movement. Right out of the gate, General Korey makes one of her biggest logistical plays of the war. Down at F10, her brand new massive ground force, complete with its dedicated anti-air screen, begins to move. They roll forward, stopping at grid F8. Korey knows that Gallandia could strike the zone with air units at any time, but she also knows that General Mavis doesn't know this massive army is here yet. To keep the supply line flowing, the secondary units for the city of Barca push up, taking the spot at F10 that was just vacated. Then, a play I wasn't expecting at all. The battle-hardened World War I veterans stationed at Fort Heckmack finally move out, advancing to E8. This puts them well within striking distance of Outpost Aurelia at E7. It looks like we are poised for another massive siege very soon. But Korey doesn't stop there. From Fort Heckmack, the swarm of AI-9 Razor interceptors takes flight, but they aren't going on a patrol. They fly directly to F8 and land right alongside the ground strike force. A dedicated air screen laid on top of the anti-air tanks. This is a proper combined arms setup. Korey is cooking this turn. She is not letting her units sit idle after the beatings they took at F8 and F7. The comeback starts now, and she's still not done. The rest of the Air Force at Fort Heckmack, minus the scouts, takes off and pushes up to E9. This puts her bombers just 2 grid spaces away from Outpost Aurelia. The last move out of Fort Heckmack is a simple scout flyby to E8 and back. This is a standard intelligence gathering, but it leads perfectly into a major rule change I will be implementing next turn. I'll explain exactly how that works during Gallandia's turn. Finally, for Ashcar's last movement, the World War I scout planes from Camp Zephyr at J11 wake up from their long slumber and fly to H9. Those stagnant veterans are finally seeing some action. Let's return to the map and check out the changes. And I'll be honest, this is an incredible amount of movement. The map is covered in new nodes. Korey is setting up a massive multi-pronged envelopment, and I love seeing this level of aggression. Oh, yes, one more thing. I know how to do this whole YouTuber spiel here. I am deeply invested in making the series, just I hope you are in watching it. But 69% of you are currently not subscribed. Let's change that. While you're at it, hit that like button, ring that bell notification so you don't miss the experimental tech coming up, and join the Discord server. I post sneak peeks and chat there regularly. The community is growing, and both teams had some very vocal supporters. Alright, back to the war. Let's take a look at Gallandia's movement for turn 15. So, remember how I said I was going to change how turns work? Here is the perfect example of why. General Mavis orders her scout to fly to F9. Thankfully for her, no enemy units are parked there. But look at the flight path. The scout flies directly between the massive armies Ashcar just set up at E8 and F8. It gathers all of that intelligence in one terrifying swoop. However, under the current rules, Mavis can't react to that intelligence until the point spending phase. Starting in episode 12, or turn 16, scouting will now have its own dedicated phase at the beginning of the turn. This means the generals will receive intelligence before they have to make their movement orders. A Discord member suggested this to balance the flow of information, and it's a perfect idea. It makes scouting 100% more valuable and allows for real tactical counterplays. So, flying blind for her movements, Mavis makes her ground plays. I was hoping she would move her new heavy tanks from Westmere directly into the meat grinder at F7. However, she opts to move them to Outpost Aurelia at E7 instead. Looking at Ashcar's massive buildup at E8 and E9, this is actually a far better play. She has much bigger fish to fry there very soon. Over in the east, the units in Unveil move out to Camp Sentinel once again. I had to admit, I don't see the point of this. If she's thinking of crossing the mountains into the K line, she does need to remember that the border there touches an entirely different neutral nation. Crossing that line could trigger an international incident, and those neutral forces might just open fire or declare war. How would you guys feel about a third nation entering the fray? Sound off in the comments. Her final movement is simple. The units in C7 fall right on into the forward operating base at Fort Vigil. And that concludes turn 15's movement phase. And we move right on into the point spinning phase, and this one is spicy. The mid-tier upgrades are here. Back in Ashcar's territory at Fort Heckmack, General Korey drops a lot of points to build 2 ABH-1 Titan heavy bombers and 4 of the brand new AF-X2 Ifrit jet fighters. I wasn't expecting her to build 4 of them right away, considering they cost a hefty 5 points each. These early jets are incredibly fast and devastating against bombers. In testing, they barely beat out the standard prop fighters in a dogfight, but we'll see if that 5-point cost is worth it in the real furball. The last bit of Ashcar spending happens in the city of Dazara. Caught you by surprise here, huh? Korey orders 2 AH-1 Rhinos, but these aren't the standard ones. These are Ashcar's mid-tier ground upgrade. These Rhinos have been fitted with the add-on armor on all sides. It isn't a massive amount of extra plating, but in testing it allows them to shrug off an extra 60% of incoming rounds instead of the usual 40. I'm officially dubbing these the AH-1 Rhino Off-C. They are joined by the free turn 15 repair truck. And this finishes Ashcar's point spending phase. What do you think Korey is planning with their new jet fighters and the up-armored heavies? We do move right on into Gallandia to see how General Mavis spends her points, having just received that terrifying scout report. And at Outpost Aurelia, Mavis fortifies her airspace. She adds 2 twin-tail interceptors and 2 vortex anti-air emplacements. But then she unveils her own experimental weapon. She spawns in the crude, terrifying G-CM1 Meteor cruise missile. This weapon has a strict 5-tile range and carries a devastating 1,000-pound warhead. It is designed to strike bases from afar. However, it is a one-way trip. Once it launches, it cannot be stopped or redirected. It either hits the target or gets shot down. And because it's extremely fragile, a well-placed anti-air shot can take it out before it impacts. It is a massive gamble. Finally, at the city of Westmere, Mavis matches Ashcar's ground upgrade, and she produces 3 GT9 bastions, also equipped with the new add-on armor. If the Churchills weren't tanky enough before, they are absolutely bunkers now, and I'm calling them the GT9 Bastion Mark IVs. They are accompanied by 2 Reaper tank destroyers, an Aegis anti-air tank, and her free repair truck. And that brings us back to the map to show the final changes, closing out turn 15. There were no battles this turn, but the amount of strategic maneuvering was incredible. The board is loaded with advanced weaponry. I don't even know how this is going to play out, if you ask me. Because as I record this, I haven't even ran turn 16 yet. My goal was to finish this video by last Friday, so I can stay ahead of the schedule. Well, however, unfortunately, this is post-editing, Lance, and this took a little bit longer than I expected to get it up and running here on YouTube. At least I'm not late, like last time where I got it up by Sunday. However, how did this turn feel for you? What are your thoughts on the new jets and the cruise missile? Should neutral nations get involved if the borders are crossed? Come join the Discord. I will definitely be leaking some juicy details about Turn 16 in there soon. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and ring that bell notification so you don't miss out on the next episode. I'm looking forward to see you here on the Frontlines of Kerbin for the next episode. This is Lance, the Overseer, signing off.